Coming up on a Skin Depth Convo.
But we were in somebody's house getting this done, and we were giggling all the way through this.
We were pointing at each other, and you are not allowed to say everything that was said. So just, okay.
I know, that's what I wanted to learn. I wanted to hear it all. They didn't even tell me off the air. This is a show focused on educating and inspiring all those in the skincare and beauty industry. But it is also a show for those looking to improve themselves from the inside out. In each episode, we explore the latest trends, breakthrough technologies, and get expert insights within the dynamic world of skincare and beauty. If you're looking to further your beauty education and nurture your passion, you're in the right place. Renowned experts and hosts Metaxia Dalikas and Francine Kagarakis aim to educate and inspire through their own experiences and are dedicated to enlightening and empowering enthusiasts and professionals in the realm of skincare and beauty. Join the conversation and the fun with a Skin Depth Convo. Welcome to a Skin Depth Convo, Best of 2024. I'm Anna Kagarakis. Now, it's been an eventful year in the skincare and beauty industry, and today we take a look at some of the best moments and also review some of the forecasted trends to see if they came into fruition. But before we get into all of that, we have some exciting news for a Skin Depth Convo and Lira Clinical. And to get into all that, let's welcome in our expert hosts, part of the founders of Lira Clinical, Metaxia Dalikas and Francine Kagarakis. Eventful is an understatement, right?
For sure. I mean, this is like so much happened in 2024. So there's an event is one thing, and eventful is another thing, but this has been massive changes.
It's been 2 months of actually just coming back from traveling back from Hong Kong, coming back to everybody taking your desks out, your file cabinets, everything's still in boxes, people coming in and taking things, and we're still looking for a lot of our items, but it's very exciting to be here at our new office in Livermore. It's bigger, better, nice windows that we have right now. So we're very, very happy to be here.
And when you say windows, as I'm watching this, I see these semis going by because I have the front room. So I'm the security. You know, you see the security.
She is.
I know who's coming by. It's just, you know, the truck's coming by, the person's coming in. It's just like, oh my God. I really need to have them tinted.
No, it's true. But Metaxia is the eagle eye around. Yeah. She knows exactly who's outside, who's on the side of the building. And so as soon as the cameras completely are installed, she'll be able to see everything 360 degree all over. So
360, 365.
365. Yeah. No. There's always a little spot that
every
you
day.
Can't see. There's always a little spot. You know what that is? Her office. No.
And the key thing about this, she could hear me and I can hear her. So we're going to have to so it's funny. We have an echo. So we're next to each other, but we still have a sound issue. So we're going to figure that out.
So for those who don't know, Lira Clinical has moved to a new location, like you said, in Livermore, California, which also means we're getting a brand new podcast studio. That's why we have different backgrounds right now. In comparison to what we have had in the past. So very exciting to see what we have. But I know it's not been easy to actually move a company's headquarters. Can you kind of give us a little sneak peek behind the curtain to let us know what the process has been like?
I want to start, Fran.
I'm sure you're going to start and you're going to finish. Go ahead.
Okay. I think having two different warehouses, one in Livermore and one in Dublin, was a challenge. But not realizing how much stuff that you had to bring over to one location. It's a huge location. And the movement of all this, the pallets, I can't tell you. I mean, this is from early in the morning till 11, 12 at night, getting everything in. And it was a much bigger project than I ever thought that, and then all of a sudden you look at it and it was a huge warehouse, empty. Now we're starting to fill it in. So it's definitely becoming more cozy. Now we're not echoing as much, but we're using walkie-talkies. That's how big it is. The girls are using walkie-talkies with the warehouse.
And the
That's
guys.
how big.
The girls and the guys. We have And what's nice about it, when we first moved to our Dublin location on Sierra Court, it was big for us at that time, and it was exciting. And we moved in, and we thought we had a lot of room. What's nice about it, as Metaxia said, we then did not have enough room in our Dublin location and started getting another warehouse out in Livermore. So bringing the two warehouses together now in Livermore is very, very exciting. What's nice about it is just walking in the back and walking back to the front is good exercise all day long. So we do go back there to get some exercise once we get off our chairs, and we go back and see everyone and come back to the front. We're getting our steps in.
And one thing I want to add, pulling up and seeing a lot of cars, because you could see all these cars lined up, and the number of employees now we've actually hired. The advancement, the growth is really, really recognized when you see all these cars in the parking lot. I thought, oh my God, we're definitely a global skincare line.
We want to go ahead and thank all of our partners around the world, here in the U.S. and again around the world, that got us to this point, because all of you helped us get to this beautiful warehouse. And our job is to make sure that we continue to deliver the best skincare.
I have to also add one more thing. I know that, when you go to a new location, you're obviously saying goodbye to an old location. And as you were leaving your old location, you had a kind of funny story and a fun interaction with somebody in Dublin, right?
We were, oh my God. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I have to say it. Truth sometimes is better than, saying a story that's not truthful. But we were going through a walkthrough with the owners, Peter and Josephine. So we're walking through, and she's looking at me and she's saying, this is really impressive. You guys have really grown through COVID and through pandemic. And oh my God, I can't believe you guys are doing so well. It's like the Colonel Sanders story. And I says, what? She goes, and she goes, you guys are in your 60s and look what you've done. And I'm thinking, Colonel Sanders, oh my God. And then I was like stewing with it as I'm walking through the walkthrough, not thinking about the walkthrough, thinking about Colonel Sanders, the Kentucky Fried Chicken story. I guess she was impressed that at our ages, we could be so successful.
Hey, stop with those our ages stuff. Age is in the mind.
You're forever 39 to me.
Yeah,
I know this, right?
Absolutely, and I have to be 49 because of my children.
I know. I don't know what you're talking about.
The key thing is that we went shopping and she saw a Christmas ornament, Kentucky Fried Chicken bucket, and she put it in my purse.
No. It was actually Chick-fil-A, but it doesn't matter. It was chicken in a bucket.
Well, there's chicken in a bucket. So I'm going to bring that ornament, and I'm going to have a story anytime anybody asks us, what did we think about the business and stuff? I'm going to say Kentucky Fried Chicken success story.
No, it was funny because Metaxia is right. We were doing the walkthrough. In fact, we were doing a Zoom meeting during the walkthrough. Yeah. We were going through a Zoom meeting. They were going through, and she was watching this, and she was so very, very impressed. But my favorite is all you had to say at this point is it did not just happen in the last few years. We've been in this industry for a long time, and so this has been part of the journey that we continue to be on.
Right.
Well, she didn't know the
stop
history.
talking about numbers. I don't know why you have to keep talking about numbers.
She didn't say a number. She just said our age. Our age could be anything. Our age is 29. I mean, she did say one age.
One age. I said she said in your 60s, but she didn't realize, the number. I think she was just impressed that we're still working and these wonderful golden years.
No, we're still kicking. We're still here. We're still doing it. We're still putting skincare on. We're still taking care of it.
Hey, but you know what? You look good doing it. Let me tell you, that's impressive. It is incredibly impressive. And, there's a lot to look forward to this year. And you have a lot of excitement coming up in the future. But before we actually head towards that exciting new future, let's actually review this past year and the best of moments. And I want to start out first with trends, because one of our favorite things to do in the new year is forecast future trends in the industry. And we did that with two big names in skincare and beauty. We had Barry Eichner and Jenny Nagel from Lip Gloss and Aftershave. They joined us to talk about trends. You had talked about a shift of skin longevity, and I love that you use this term. Can you talk about what that means?
I'm going to steal that from you.
I stole it from somebody else. We saw it happening. Jen, you tell them about the advertiser we worked with last year that started using it.
Anytime you use the word anti, right? It's like, it's negative, and it has just this connotation that goes along with it. So she was like, I don't use that term. There's nothing wrong with aging. We want to do pro-aging. I think there were a few terms that sort of surrounded this, and it was like, getting older is actually a great thing. I just turned 40 and I'm like, wow, there's so much more that I know now looking back. And even as I explain things to my 9-year-old, I'm like, you have just no idea. And it takes years to get that. So aging is such a great thing. So stripping away the word anti, which is really hard for this industry because there's an entire segment of anti-aging skincare, anti-aging treatments. I mean, that's a hard thing to retrain your brain if you've been in aesthetics for decades. So that's where we first started seeing it. And then it transitioned into the word longevity, and Barry will take over that segment.
I just know that like the words anti-aging were born in like the middle 80s by some 27-year-old ad executive who was like, no one wants to be old. Let's make it anti-aging. And it was just sort of like anti-aging this. And truthfully, like, I think it was somebody wiser than me once said, I was complaining about old, or I heard somebody complaining about being old, and they said, well, it's better than the alternative. Yep. And I don't think that really sinks in until you hit a certain number. But I really do love the age that I'm at, but I don't necessarily want to look like my father when he was this age. And because of the advances in technology and research and development that we have, we now don't have to. If you look at people who were just, there's the chaos of the TV in the 70s and the 80s. When I look at the stars who were the old people on the shows, they were in their late 40s and early 50s. That's the age of the character. And they looked like old people. I mean, it's because, we didn't have access to the amazing products that we have today, or the treatments that we have today. We don't have anything. We didn't know what hyaluronic acid was and how to get it onto your skin. People were using cold cream, thinking that they were like doing the next best thing for their skin at night. They were bragging about the fact that they just used a little petroleum jelly on their skin, and that's all they needed. I think anti-aging the skin, it starts to turn into doing things that are essentially not great for the skin. And so when you talk about promoting skin's longevity, that puts you in a solution-oriented space. It puts you into thinking about positive ways of looking, being, and feeling as you exist. It's very common to really showcase things in that longevity conversation that bolster as opposed to tear apart. Everything that we talk about now is ways to lift, bolster, reinforce, support, health, grow. Retinols are not an exfoliant. Everyone thinks that they're an exfoliation. Retinols are a vitamin designed to lift new skin cells to the surface. Anytime you have a longevity conversation, it's how you're going to lift the skin up, make the skin happier, make the skin healthier. So you bring in nutrition becomes part of the longevity, supplements become part of longevity, gentler treatments become part of longevity. It's a mindset. Anti-aging means I'm bad and I got to correct it. Longevity means I'm good and I need to lift it. And that's why I think it's such a beautiful thought process and a great way to focus.
A big thank you to Barry and Jenny. We had a lot of fun with them on that show. And a big part of the discussion is talking about also overall health and skincare, and also incorporating nutrition programs and the idea of using the term skin longevity instead of anti-aging because of that negative connotation with anti-aging. And we also talked about how younger people are focusing on skincare and education and preventing that premature aging. So what did you think about that? Did you see that? Do you still see that now in this last year? We talked about the idea of younger people getting into skincare and how there was trying to move away from the negative of anti-aging. Do you see that? Did that happen this last year?
I have to say I see it with my 12-year-old granddaughter. It's the younger generation that's coming in more aware of skincare and sun protection. Those masks are a big hit. In fact, for Christmas, she wants all the skincare products, lip balms. It really has changed. And age is the number now. It's your skin vitality that we're looking for, how healthy your skin is. And it's a whole picture. People are eating better, walking, exercising, aware of what will help the skin maintain its youth and glow.
What we're finding is more and more people are looking into this information. We do have the skin technology, as we like to call it, to be able to make a change on the skin. So people are now aware of what clinical skincare is able to do. So they're always looking it up on their social media. We talk about this all the time, information overload. So they are finding the best products in the world, anywhere in the world, by just going online because we're so connected. So this has made a huge change, and I feel that Metaxia brought this up too. Nutrition is a huge part of it. Nutrition, skincare, the way we take care of ourselves, exercise, just understanding even positive thoughts, how they all work together to make sure that not only do we feel better, but we look better. They do go hand in hand. And so I do feel there's a big difference, and it continues to be a big difference, and it's getting. Now the younger generation is seeing what their parents are doing and they're taking care of their skin. And we are seeing more and more people looking healthier and better than ever before.
Yeah, and if people want to hear more about the trends and kind of review what we talked about, you can go to episode number 42 of the podcast and listen to that. Now, something that's always been really popular with the show is when you have those sister moments, we're going to call it, where you guys either you have a disagreement or you had a lot of fun on this last one.
When she's a pain in the...
Mm-hmm. What was that?
And she just likes to attack. She likes to... And I have to defend. I have to get back in there. So she's very good at that.
Well, we have a fun one that we're going to play for you right now.
Oh, no.
Oh, God.
There is science to support that we could do things to stop that aging process or slow it down to really nothing. Because people look younger now than they ever did before. You can't tell someone's age. You can't say a 50-year-old is a 50-year-old. You could guess them at a 30-year-old. I mean, Jenny, you don't look your age. Barry, you don't look your age. I think it's because you put it all together.
You stop there. You didn't say, Francine, you don't look your age. What happened? You stopped right there. You were supposed to keep going, and you stopped right when it got to the good.
Okay, Francine, you look pretty darn good for your age.
Oh, that's not right. No.
Yeah, that was definitely a lot of fun there.
She's constantly trying to defend herself. Constantly.
I have to. I have no choice. I'm the second child. But he's right.
I just have to say, no matter where she lines up, it's her personality. She's a spitfire, and she's constantly challenging her own self. Not just me. She's constantly challenging herself.
Well, you always look good doing it. That's the key. But you know what? One of the other funny things that we brought up in the show was the idea that when you watch shows in the 70s and 80s, the old people on the show, they were supposed to be in their 40s and 50s. But it feels like now they don't look like that. I don't know if that's just perception because of where we are in life, maybe. But did you kind of see that also when you look at, like, say, the Golden Girls?
Well, that's a bad reference because I think when they say, oh, you look like the Golden Girls, there is a picture of the Golden Girls today. Aesthetics has turned everything around. We don't think old. We don't wear old. We don't act old. So really, it's a number. And if you really can maintain and keep your skin in motion, your body in motion, your mind in motion, and not be afraid to learn something at any age, it's a totally different mentality. We're not thinking, okay, well, this is it, and we're going to go out and retire. There's no retirement for us. We're just enjoying every moment, learning every day, and having fun with this. And I think that's key to life.
Well, that picture you're talking about obviously has filters all over it because that, their hairstyle is one thing, but it is their thought process. They did act as if they were retired. They acted as if they were older. Yeah. As we get older and more seasons in life, we have to learn to enjoy it and be happy. And what I'm noticing is that more and more people are working longer than we did before. So we have to be out there. We don't have this mindset that, oh, now we're going to retire and that's it. So more and more people are working longer, and we're working in different ways than we did before. So there was a whole different mindset of the way that people lived before versus how we have now.
All right, I got to say something.
Here she goes.
I got to say something.
Go. End the year. Go, baby. Okay, go get me. Okay.
Technology is in our fingertips. Before, when we were young, it was called an encyclopedia against the wall. So we didn't have that. We would have to go reach for it. Now, technology with our phones and our internet, we are constantly learning. So we're not limited, everything is fresh and new.
Yeah.
And that's why we have to look at life fresh and new and not at age number. Francis, remember the encyclopedias?
Yes. And it was a
Yes.
big deal to have it in the house. And we were excited
Oh
to have
my God.
something, and the library too. But there is a whole different mindset.
Yeah,
and
it's
what's
different.
nice about this, you now see more people walking than we did when we were younger. When we were younger, I don't remember seeing that many people walking like I do now, going to the park and watching a lot of my neighbors doing Tai Chi and doing certain things that they're able to move around. So there is a completely different mindset. Now you see people walking around with special water bottles and stuff because they're drinking water all day long. There's a whole different mindset than before. And I'm happy about that because there is a change, and we are as young as we feel and as we are in our hearts, because our souls are still young. Just because our bodies may be getting older, it's the way we think and the way we act makes a difference.
Let me ask you, Golden Girls or Colonel Sanders?
Golden Girls all the way. I'm proud.
Golden Girls.
They
had humor. They had humor. They had a good friendship. I think also being available to have good friends and see the world, and being, in a partnership with our partners and learning. I mean, we're in a very special place. We're very fortunate.
Well, I will say a good friend and also brand ambassador, Michael Moore, got in trouble this past year for actually calling certain ladies here Golden Girls. I know he got in a little bit of trouble for that one. But in episode number 45, Michael did join us along with another member of the Lira Clinical team, George Gallegos, where we chatted about men in aesthetics and an incredible event called Mecca, the Men's Aesthetics Conference and Associates.
Well, it was created by this one gentleman. His name is Moto, and I cannot pronounce his last name, and I apologize about that. But Moto is a man who I personally think is going to change this industry in so many ways. He's only been an esthetician for 4 years, I believe he said, and he has already created this men's event 3 years ago. So this is the third complete year, I believe, for this. And he really believes in about helping the brethren, of really making sure that there is a very cohesive place that men can go to learn about men, but also just learn about the industry and feel accepted a little bit differently than what it has been in the past. I have to say, there was about 250 to 300 people sitting in that room, and about 25% of them were men. And it really sparked so many different interesting conversations about the industry. Now, George, you've actually been at this event as well, right?
Yeah, so the very first one that he put together, I was definitely impressed. You kind of say, oh, he's only been an esthetician for a year, but the kind of the community that he brought together is extremely impressive, especially, not really having it. And that just shows the dedication that he is going to change. First year out of esthetician school, not really having like a book of business or knowing these people and just kind of going after them was super impressive. So like you were kind of mentioning, 25% you said this year was males, the rest were females, and I think it was only about 10%, I would say, were males that first year. And in my mind, when they said it was going to be this men's conference, I was like, oh, it's going to be just a lot of men that are going to be in here. But what was kind of amazing about it, it's actually more about just supporting and kind of thinking about it. And yeah, you're correct. So the very first year that it happened, I was a panelist. So what I really feel like I learned a lot is panelists, where there's multiple people chatting. And so with Moto, he put together multiple panels that day that really just sparked conversation. It wasn't more of one of those kind of learning environments where someone has a presentation and we're going next slide. It was really great because you were able to hear from multiple people, men in the industry. There was people on this side of the industry. I was part of that panel. And then he also had like spa owners or business owners that were men on the panel. So it was just kind of great to hear both sides. Typically since I've been on this side of the industry for quite a bit of time, that's really all I hear. I don't really get to hear it with at least 4 or 5 people at the same time of what they're struggling with, what they're going for. And I know one big thing that they said that they were struggling with there was more marketing that is geared towards the male clientele.
Well, it was interesting, George. Once I got the table set up down in Phoenix, we had a little snafu about that. And thank you, Metaxia, for helping me out finding all of that stuff. But the interesting thing is there was a picture of me from an ad that we had done for a Pro Exfoliating Cleanser. And then there was a couple pictures of men that you guys use as models. And people came up to the table and were like, oh, this is a men's line. I'm like, no, this is a men's event. Okay. So why not market it towards the men? So I thought that was just so eye opening. Like, okay, there's men on these pictures, so they think it's a men's line. And this was the women saying this to me, and they would actually walk on by. I'm like, okay, this is a skincare brand that is for people, and men have skin, women have skin, and we all have different issues with the skin. So let's talk about that. So I had to bring them in and slow them down a little bit. Like, no, Lira Clinical is not a men's skincare line. So I was trying to help you guys out there.
And you can find out more about Mecca and the great work that they do at the conference and how they're helping propel men in the industry at MeccaPHX.com. That's MECAPHX.com. And you can listen or watch the full episode by going to episode number 45 of the podcast. Now, there were a couple other trends that we talked with Barry and Jenny about. We talked about exosomes, plant stem cells, and devices. And we'll talk more about exosomes in just a bit, but we also went more in depth on using devices and medical aesthetics with Brenda Cumming.
And I've noticed it actually for a couple of years, is that obviously your age group, Anna, the little babies, and younger
I like that. Thank you.
Really taking more of an approach into preventative. Preventative as far as skincare, as far as maybe getting a little Botox, maybe a little filler, definitely getting on, some better skincare products, not just what influencers on TikTok recommend. I mean, that is such a trigger for me. I think we all deal with that all the time because I don't think they're licensed estheticians necessarily or aesthetic nurses, but, come into your practice and get decent advice. So I feel like people are getting very fatigued with social media and not people appearing very real on social media. There's a lot of filters. I also think the general public is getting very fatigued with people looking overdone, overfilled. You can only put so much filler in somebody's face because at that point they just start looking puffy and overdone. And this is what I like about the Skin Vive, because if I've had patients seeing me on a regular basis for the last 20 something years, I really can't put much filler in their face because when you're young and you get too much filler, you look old. When you're older and you get too much filler, you look weird. So trying to hydrate the skin and plump it is a good option. And of course, staying on good skincare, maybe getting an IPL here and there, that's still the same. So I've noticed that there's a really exciting product that's coming out, and it's called Renuva. I think I'm saying that right. It's Nenuva. And it's very similar kind of to Sculptra or maybe Radiesse. As a side, Radiesse has been around for a really long time. It's a cross-linked product of calcium hydroxylate and hyaluronic, and it stays a lot longer. It's a biostimulator, so it's going to stimulate collagen. But now we're putting it in the neck. We've always put it in hands. Really popular putting it in hands. People want it in other parts of the body, like their buttocks. You can hyperdilute it and put it here for crepey skin, hyperdilute it and put it above the knees. I know we're going to talk about it later, but the body is still important because we don't just stop aging at the neck. But Renuva has been out overseas for a while. It's made in America, but we've tested it here. And that's kind of also a biostimulator that's going to set up a honeycomb matrix where you inject it again in certain spots like your cheeks. You can do your décolleté, you can do your breasts, you can do your buttocks. And it's going to stimulate fat to grow back into that area where we all lose that volume loss. So there's a lot of buzz about that right now. I've reached out to the manufacturer and I'm dying to get my hands on it. I'm sure I've got some volunteers.
Oh, always.
That would like to try that.
We're here for you anytime.
It's pretty exciting. Everybody still doesn't want to age and they want to do more things, but I think they're going to be a little bit more conservative about it, not being overdone.
It's funny, I went to the bank today, and all of a sudden I went to a teller who really looked exactly what Brenda said. The lips were overdone. I mean, to the point that she looked weird. And I think
couldn't talk.
Yeah, it really was bad. I haven't seen that in a long time. People went up to her and just watched the body language, and they all saw her as something that was not normal. So I'm glad to definitely agree with you that we are being more cautious on how much we put on this, and how much we do. And I think that's your success, because I'll be honest with you, I've never ever seen anyone that I know that you worked with that had that look. So I'm really glad that we're saying this and talking, because I think too much is no good on anything, especially in cosmetics.
A lot of great information that we got there from Brenda. And I did find it really interesting how now, like the newer trends this last year was how we don't want people to be as overdone. They're getting the treatments, they're using the devices, and they're doing more medical aesthetics, but they don't want to look overdone.
I have to say the key point that I liked about her segment is talking about full body awareness, keeping our bodies, we're not aging from the neck up. We're actually aging all over, keeping our skin everywhere healthy, hydrated, firm. It's really nice. And I think also, too, we just want to be as natural, not overdone. I agree with her. It's too much is too much. Sometimes you see somebody walking by, you know exactly what they've had done. It's keeping us where it's a youthful state without having it so blatant in front of you.
It's all about restoring your skin, restoring not only your skin, but restoring your face back to where it was and not altering it. And I think that's one of the key things. A lot of times people supersized it or just did too much. So we're very happy to see now we really are just trying to restore what we already have. And it is so very important to remember that the skin is the canvas, and it's important to make sure you maintain the skin so everything else looks just as well. I mean, when you do Botox, you want to make sure your skin looks good so the Botox looks better. When you're doing fillers, the same thing. Same with the body, as Metaxia is saying, with the body, you still have to do body peels, restore, take care of your skin all over.
Yeah, we discussed a lot about all that in devices, medical aesthetics, also the use of AI in skincare. Now, if you'd like to also learn more about staying current with medical aesthetics, you can go to episode number 43 of the podcast. Now, devices were a big trend this past year, and one of the devices that we learned more about was LED light therapy. The use of LED lights has grown exponentially in popularity in recent years, especially because of social media. And we chatted with Richard Maher from Lightstem on how these lights work with the skin and different conditions in the ABCs of LED light therapy.
So, at least as far as what we're looking at in the realm of how we're using LED light therapy, really you'll hear numbers like 415 nanometer blue, 465 nanometer blue, 630 nanometer red. Really, what you are thinking of this as, or an easy example is this is kind of the Pantone of light therapy or energy. We're telling you the exact color that it is. So if I'm talking to other professionals, like most of you probably listening, I would say wavelength. If I'm talking to my client in the treatment room, I would say color. It's a much more easily digestible term. And so as we go up in that number, we're actually kind of going backwards on a rainbow. So we're starting with violet and ultraviolet as the numbers are lower. And as that wavelength number goes up, we're going, through violet to blue, blue to green, green to yellow, and, backwards all the way. And it's really easy to kind of think of this as well, because when we think of the name UV, it's ultraviolet. That means it's above violet. When we think of infrared, that's below red. So these are actually right outside the visible spectrum. So if you're using any lights in these ranges, they're also invisible to the naked eye. And it's not so much time frame, it's which of those benefits that you want to see, because there are immediate benefits and there are going to be cumulative benefits as well. And each client has different things that they're working or dealing with as well. For example, using our acne light, I get what I lovingly refer to as hotel acne. I'm not an acneic person in general, but like just traveling like I was at a show, I don't know if it's recycled air, the stress, the air travel, what have you, but my acne is very extrinsically based. It's based on things outside of my body. So I can use our acne light once, and by the next morning, whatever stress blemish I have is dealt with. If someone is seeing a more hormonal issue, that might be something where it'll take multiple times per week for a few weeks in order to see that start to see some benefit there. With anti-aging devices, we do see an immediate wrinkle reduction right away. And we've done skin analysis scans like the Vizia skin scanner in order to show that. But this is a very temporary benefit. Some say 6 to 8 hours. Some say they've seen it for 24 hours. Good for them. I'm more in the 6 to 8 range. but that might be the increase of circulation. It could be other neurotransmitters that we are working with. It could be some nitric oxide release or bioavailability that people do see with LED, but makes it good for pre-makeup as primer for your primer, or just for things looking well. But for that collagen to build, it is happening from that first step, but it's going to take a long time to work from the base up, especially if the wrinkles are already there. We were actually the first to get FDA cleared for the full face rather than just around the eyes. And so in our clinical trials, it was supposed to be a 12-week trial, but at 8 weeks, the FDA contacted the third party doing our clinical trial and said, we've seen what we need to see. 100% of people found significant results using it, the at-home handheld, so the smaller device, 5 times a week. We continued the study because we wanted to know that it was still going to see more benefit past that time, so we finished it up. But in the treatment room, even though that's where the clearance lied, we are seeing a lot of people, maybe if they're using it as a monotherapy, it's doing a series twice a week for that same amount of time and seeing results. I would argue that we have a lot of tools in our tool belt, so I'd rather see it combined with other services, but it's always good to know it's working on its own.
Yeah, I think I'll be definitely traveling with a light mask that I inherited from Francine. Thank you very, very much.
No problem.
It was great. I definitely loved that. But Richard did break down the different color lights and how to properly use them, and explain the differences between an at-home device versus one in clinic. And this is just more than just LED 101. He covered the basics, then went into basically an advanced course. So it was a great episode to learn from.
I have to tell you, I learned so much from that episode. He gave us the facts and gave us things that we wouldn't necessarily have learned from just, doing our research online. He really was very informative. I think it would help all of us to kind of listen to that episode, because LED is such a popular device right now in skincare.
It also shows you how right now skincare is extended from in clinic to home. We are doing more and more at home to take care of our skin, because in between your visits to an esthetician or to a physician, when you're taking care of your skin, you have to do something. So LED is one of those very, very important treatments that you are able to do at home. So this is why people need to take care of their skin every day and make sure the treatments continue, so the skin continues to turn over at a more healthier rate.
Right. And if you'd like to learn more about LED light therapy, check out episode number 46 of the podcast. And one of the hottest words in beauty right now is exosomes. And we discussed what exosomes are, how they work, and how Lira Clinical keeps moving forward with EXO-tech technology.
Exosomes is a huge subject. Number one, you're hearing about exosomes. You're hearing about getting injected with exosomes and stem cells. You're hearing different things with animal, as you said, human, and of course, plant, which is best usually, in our opinion, for skincare. So there's different ways of looking at it, because it comes from wellness. It comes from the medical arena. And this is what we're looking at, delivering it to the body in different ways for health. But this is what we're dealing with is actually just for the skin. So this is what we are looking at. And our delivery is to be able to deliver and get proper exfoliation in a very unique and delicate area that also keeps the barrier intact and delivers not only that it delivers the apple extract, but it's also delivering lipids. It's delivering at the same time proteins and nucleic acids that help with the repair in that area. What we chose in this particular exosome, we chose a particular apple extract, and it's called Pyrus malis. And this actually has a gentle exfoliation that actually exfoliates and keeps the barrier intact. So this was very, very unique. Then we had to sit down and figure out where would we like this type of technology and what type of product. And so we sat down and said, okay, where does this really fit in our line? We have a wonderful eye cream in the line. It's called the Mystique Perfecting Eye Cream, full of peptide technology, Mystica. It's a great, great eye cream. But now we have another level to go along with our Mystique Perfecting Eye Cream, where we are able to now deliver the proper exfoliation around the eyes, because the skin around the eyes is very, very different.
All right, I'll say it again. I love exosomes. How popular has this EXO technology been this past year? What's the feedback been like for the Pro Refining Eye Cream?
I have to say, coming back from Hong Kong and seeing EXO technology, EXO all over the place, we were, again, trendsetters. I love our EXO technology and what it does. And for me, it's just advancing our skincare routines and our skincare formulations to the max. And Fran, you're like the ingredient guru. I have to tell you, did a lot of research on the EXO technology that we offer in Lira.
We're excited to offer the latest technology. And technology is so important in skincare. And again, you're right. The reason why it's so important is how you deliver ingredients into the skin. How you deliver products into the skin make all the difference in the world. So delivery systems not only are they trending for 2024, but for 2025, we're going to continue this because how we deliver ingredients into the skin makes all the difference and all the changes in the skin. So EXO-tech and exosomes, they're here to stay and expanding every day.
And 2024 is when they became legal in the United States. So
it was in March.
March 2024. So we were on the cutting edge. March 2024, it became legal, and all of a sudden we had a product right away, right after it. So we're definitely on the mark.
And it was hard because we had a lot of the research, and we had a lot of formulation alterations that we needed to do. So we are very happy to say it is trending all over the world. But this technology has made a huge difference. And you'll be looking for new things coming with exosome technology also.
That's what I love about Lira Clinical. There's always something new and exciting, but these products work. I love the Pro Refining Eye Cream. It's been wonderful. I use it all the time. I use it partnered up with the Mystique Eye Cream. I love it. So I think it's a wonderful product and exciting to see what you have coming up in the future. And you can get more in-depth info by listening to episode number 47 of the podcast. Now, Lira Clinical, like I said, is always looking for that next best ingredient to create the best skincare line. And both of you actually peeled back the layers on a topic that is a major cornerstone in the professional skincare industry, peels. We talked about the right peels for different clients and different skin types and why they are essential to skin health on episode number 48.
I think the first thing to understand is that peels can address a concern, a condition. They can. And you pick the right modality to go in. And for example, acne, salicylic is one of the agents we could go in with. But each condition needs something and it wants something. So you as a esthetician or clinician, you need to go on and see what ingredients will actually help what the skin needs. Our lactic peels are really good for pigment, but there's a combination of things along with the lactic that will help the pigment relax and kind of fade away. We don't get rid of melanocytes. We actually relax them and put them on the basal layer. With dull skin, for example, you really want to get the skin kind of responding because the skin just doesn't have that movement that is really necessary. Prevention, we talked earlier about prevention. Prevention is really just stimulating the skin in a way to kind of excite it. It's like when you push your refresh on your computer, it just brings that energy back. So prevention with peels, pigment are fantastic. Dull skin, rosacea, even rosacea, there's treatments out there to actually help the skin move in a positive, corrective manner.
And a lot of times what happens, the professional goes in and they have to cleanse the skin, do a skin analysis, see how the skin reacts to products. Some skin is a little more sensitive, other skin is a little tough. As Metaxia said, dull skin, thicker skin that you need a lot more to bring it back to where it needs to be. So you have to do a full skin analysis and see at this point how product works with them. What you have to do is actually begin with a hybrid peel. See how they react with the hybrid peel and know where to go. There's traditional ways that we learned, like lactic peel was for hyperpigmentation and glycolic peels were for anti-age. The unique part about this is smart peels are for all skin types. And as Metaxia said, rosacea, the Vitabright actually helps with rosacea. But if somebody's having a full flare-up with rosacea, you don't peel them. What you have to do is build their skin back up so then you can do a Vitabright. You don't just take somebody and just put a Vitabright on them. You have to make sure they can tolerate it. They're not inflamed at the time. Build the skin up so you can do correction. Because you don't want to peel someone that there's the barrier is not functioning correctly. You have to make sure their barrier is intact enough so you can go in, do a peel, and get the correction that is needed.
I have to say, for our Smart Peel collection, Francine said earlier, it's a delivery, and we definitely expanded our Smart Peel collection to new delivery opportunities. And I think having the range and having technology within our peel line is amazing. And I have to tell you, it's the delivery, it's the health of the skin, it's keeping the skin in motion, and understanding that the peels of the past are not the peels of the future.
We're able to actually take all peel technology, and we do know how to deliver them into the skin. You don't always have to shed so much of your skin to always get the results that you need. It's all about understanding how to exfoliate correctly, take off when it needs to come off, put in when you need to put in products into the skin to make sure you restore it back to its healthy state.
Right.
It's not always keeping the skin shedding and taking off. It's actually knowing how to take it off and put in at the same time and at different times. And Lira Clinical has had the opportunity to perfect it.
Well, one more thing, 2025, we're hitting the trade shows with peels with no pH change, not changing the pH of a peels. It's really such a cool way that you could deliver the actives. These next classes in 2025 are really going to advance the peelers out there and to understand how they could do some new protocols without changing the pH of someone's skin.
We started with the peels, and we continue to be the pioneers of showing how to peel correctly, along with exosome technology, plant stem cell technology, and of course, peptide technology.
Wonderful. Yeah, we've had 2 incredible podcasts. We had the first one where we talked about the basics of peels, and then we decided to kind of dive further into the topic by talking about these new smart peels that you have. So we learned so much about the EXO-Mandelic, EXO-Retinoid, and the Shikimic Plus. It's been an incredible product, and let's hear more all about it. Love this. Well, you talked about acid. Let's talk about a new one. Let's talk about mandelic acid. What is that?
Can I jump in, Fran? I'm excited.
Of course. What's new about you being excited? Okay.
What's exciting is that everybody loved Mandelic. We heard them. We go all over the world and we ask questions to these professionals, and Mandelic was such a key word to peels. And we have Mandelic, but we had the opportunity to take 30% Mandelic and deliver it deeper into the epidermis without altering the pH. And for me, that is stubborn melasma. That is not going in and causing the alarm system to go off with the melanocytes. Mandelic gives us so many different benefits at 30%, just imagine. And I am so excited because I'll tell you, when we talk about Mandelic and we just launched these peels, the first one that's selling off the chart was a Mandelic because people really wanted it. And we delivered Mandelic in such a unique way. And the liposalvation, you like to elaborate your stories, but I have to tell you, for me, it's just going into the skin without altering the pH and not having any sensitivities and having it work right within the epidermis.
Right, and Metaxia is right on that. Mandelic has always been a favorite because it's not too harsh on the skin, but it does deliver results and is great for brightening the skin. Our VitaBright had that, and it was great in our VitaBright, and we've actually used parts of Mandelic in a lot of our products at the same time. So as a favorite, what we found is there's a new technology on the market now called liposalvation. And what is very important is what makes skin healthy is when your barrier is intact. Hydration is very, very important because when your skin is hydrated, it's a protection barrier. It helps us against oxidative stress. It helps us against UV rays. It also helps us against HEV. It is important to keep your barrier intact, to keep the immune part of your skin intact and calm down inflammation. So it is important to keep the barrier intact. But in clinical skincare, you still have to get in there and do some correction. So the key here is now we're able to offer 2 customized, unique, revolutionary peels with liposalvation. And this is peeling with lipids. It is actually very important because we convert the bioactive into a lipophilic agent. And it goes and delivers the mandelic acid into the skin without disrupting the stratum corneum. So it is actually plumping up your skin as you are delivering brightening benefits to the skin. So this, and as Metaxia said, the pH is not lowered. So we're keeping the barrier intact and doing correction. This is the first step to more and more treatments that are showing that the health of the skin is so very, very important, and we can deliver clinical results and while keeping the barrier intact. So this is so very exciting to be able to introduce this into the aesthetic market.
I think for us, using retinols for a seal or a standalone peel, they were the ones that sat on top of the skin and actually refined, help peel, help seal treatments. To have the ability with the EXO technology, like Francine said, with the Mandelic, we're going into the epidermis nice and smooth with the liposalvation, and not sealing, but actually delivering the many different types of retinols into the skin in a totally different delivery system. As we know, retinol just sits and it processes, and there's some delivery, but to deliver it this unique way and having it not just a standalone peel, but having it as a very functional ingredient with how many different parts of retinols do we have in this peel, Fran?
Four.
Four.
Wow.
We have 4 different types, one being also a peptide.
Yeah.
Retinoids are very, very popular around the world also because of their great benefit of brightening and rebuilding. They do such a great job, and to be able to deliver the new retinoids into the market through this liposalvation is very exciting for us. And we are going to be able to take these liposalvation peels and incorporate them in the whole Smart Peel collection.
Shikimic Plus, the carboxylic new family member. We have the EXO Mandelic, and we have the EXO Retinoid, which I think is, the three are just so unique, so revolutionary to Lira's and expanding our Lira Peel collection. We're not stagnant. We have so many opportunities to play and exercise the skin and keep the skin healthy.
As a line that really does focus a lot on the peels and clinical treatments and clinical results, we are very proud and happy to be able to deliver the first liposalvation peels into the market. And we are all about getting those results, but healthy skin is what is very, very important. Inflammation, oxidation, all of this is important, but to make sure you have that wonderful, healthy glow. So we are very happy to be introducing the EXO-tech peels along with our shikimic acid.
All of these give that brighter, healthier, younger looking skin. But which of these peels have really taken off this last year?
They're pretty close in the running. We did a number count and they're pretty close. But Mandelic, 30% Mandelic is such a unique way to go in for the pigmentation or that stubborn pigment that's down and rooted really deep. But they're very close as far as numbers sold in this industry because every one of them have a unique, different benefit. So for me, it's really hard to say which of the three is a top seller.
As Metaxia said, by number-wise, it is EXO Mandelic, but the 3 new peels, because shikimic is killing it for acne, and so is our EXO Retinoid. It's working great, and the fact that we can put them all together is something exciting. But VitaBright continues to be number one in the world, because what the versatility of the VitaBright with the new peels and with the existing Smart Peels continues to grow even more, because the one key thing about the Smart Peels, you take one and you could actually change it and make it stronger and stronger and stronger. So that is the key difference, where you're able to read the skin and deliver exactly what is needed.
It's great. It's the versatility that you have. Yeah. Lira Clinical has a very versatile line of peels, but you're always growing. Like you just said, you're always growing. There's more exciting news to come for 2025 when it comes to peels. So really excited about that. And if you'd like more of an advanced peel lesson to learn more about these Smart Peels specifically, go to episode number 49 of the podcast. But now, while you both are always looking for the latest and greatest in skincare, you're also spending a lot of time teaching. And that's during the Lira Clinical tour. Now, the Lira Clinical team puts on a wonderful learning event like no other. And both of you have shared your lessons all over the world. And there were some great moments that we shared from your trip. But I think one of my favorite moments was when you shared your experience with the psychic hairdresser.
Oh, God, you remember. Oh, I forgot about that.
But she's not giving you the highlight for me.
Oh, I didn't. Okay, all right. What did I miss?
The highlight was we wanted to have a quick touch-up so we look nice for the for the next trade show.
Oh, my
goodness. So we thought, okay, we're going to go. And we were told to go to the special place. And I have to tell you, it was an experience because we went to this lady who's very well known, Margarita. And she took us, and all of a sudden she started cutting Francine's hair. And she started cutting, and she started cutting. And I thought, oh my God, she started cutting my hair. But it was an experience because we just trusted her. And it was amazing. And then she was giving us caviar Botox for the hair. And we laughed so much because I would not let anybody do this. I don't know why I sat there quietly, but okay. And
No. The reason why we sat, she was like a psychic hairdresser.
Psychic hairdresser.
She was fantastic.
Oh, this is
She
exciting.
looked at us, told us what was wrong with us, and we're like, okay. And she told us what color we were wrong. Hair was too long. Why are you wearing it like this? You need to do it. And we're like, should we do this? Should we take the chance? The best is when she took my hair, brought it up front, and took 5 inches off right away. And I think Metaxia's eyes popped out and said, oh my God, I hope she doesn't do that to me. Yeah. And I looked at her and I go, oh my God. And then she took the darker color and then she started covering up the highlights. And we're like, okay. And she goes, you trust me?
What are you supposed to say when you're sitting there with her scissors in her hand? And then she goes to me, your highlights, they're too thin, thicker highlights. And she's going and telling me this. And I'm going, okay. I just let her do what she wanted. I don't act like this.
And the reason why, because she was describing our personalities as she's cutting our hair. And when somebody's talking to you in that way, where they know who you are and they're talking about certain things about you, and you're going, oh my God, how does she know that? Yeah. But we did not realize she was hypnotizing us and cut, right? And at that point, she did a good job. I have to tell her, she did a really good job.
Yeah.
You do look beautiful, I will say. Is there something, I don't know, can you share anything about each other? Like, Fran, what you heard her say about Metaxia that kind of made you go, that's kind of good. And then Metaxia, same thing for Fran?
I don't think I could say this on tape.
No, you can't.
Okay, we'll have to talk after.
We're not going to
say She nailed us, but I'm not going to share that.
Okay.
No. We're. You know what? The hair was enough sharing.
Yes. She was. She spent time really kind of looking at us and telling us all of what she thought we were all about, our characters and stuff, and she nailed Fran. And it was shocking. I think, and I got my hair cut, which was something I didn't like, but I was so intrigued by what she was saying about me that I forgot about the hair, but I left with like 5 inches off. But I was so intrigued. We talked about it all the way home.
It was the best. She was great. She was, about our age, and she had this red hair, and she was exciting and fun. But she's right. We both sat there listening and having so much fun. We forgot about our hair. But she did a good job, and actually, her hair looked really good. And it did. We both did. It looked really nice. And she was telling us.
Wait.
No. What are you going to say? I'm wondering what you're going to say. Wait. What are you going to say?
It's the favorite part of the show.
We have a dear friend in Greece, and took us to this top hairdresser that was like one of the best in Greece. This was Greece. We went to her house. And we had it done in her house because she was in transition and she was fitting us in because she is booked for months. We went in her house. I thought I was doing something illegal. And it was an experience. Not only was it a psychic reading, a different hairstyle, but we were in somebody's house getting this done. And we were giggling all the way through this.
We were pointing at each other, and you are not allowed to say everything that was said. So just, okay.
I know, that's what I wanted to learn. I wanted to hear it all.
No.
They didn't even tell me off the air.
You're my daughter.
I know. You didn't even tell me. Mm-hmm.
No.
I get you. But yeah, you got to hear the whole story. You can hear the whole story on the podcast. It was definitely a lot of fun hearing all of that. And Purely Clinical is also returning. So we're going to find out more about a global skincare tour in the next locations. You can go to Lira Clinical's website at liraclinical.com and click on the professional trainings tab to learn more about Purely Clinical and where you will be heading this next year. So are you excited for what's to come?
I have to say, I'm getting, oh my God, ready for this. We had 2 months of not traveling. So once February comes around, we're on the road again.
Woohoo.
What's exciting is that we are looking how to, of course, update it. because Purely Clinical, we went out for a few years now. We're very happy because we're doing it globally. But at the same time, we always have to show what's advancing, what's going on. So we are in the process right now of completing some of our ideas, putting it together. And there's a lot to come with our Purely Clinical. And it's exciting. I see it in March coming because we are going to start in Europe and then probably be in California in March. And we're very, very excited to introduce some of the new ideas and what's going on for 2025.
Well, it's exciting. And that's going to be a wrap for 2024. It's been a fantastic year with more incredible episodes to come. So make sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of your other favorite podcast platforms. Plus, you can watch the show on YouTube at Lira Clinical's YouTube page. So feel free to rate the podcast as well. We always appreciate it. And don't forget to follow our social media channels at Skin Depth Convo on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And if you have any questions for Fran and Metaxia, you can email your questions to info@skindepthconvo.com. That's info@skindepthconvo.com. We also want to say a big thank you also to both of you, but also to the help that we have behind the scenes, the Lira Clinical Education team for all your help, also our marketing team, and also to one of our editors, Ryan McGeary, who also helps out with the podcast. So thank you to all of you.
Whoa, Anna.
And
thank you
to you, Anna.
Thank you, Anna. It's really hard to put us all in one meeting, and you have been very patient, very professional, and thank you for making us. I think there was a list of popular podcasts, and I think within the number 10 range, I think we were like 5 or 6. I want to thank you. Fran wants to thank you because it's really hard to keep up with what you're doing, to keep us current with, the learning technologies of a podcast, changing it to Riverside and all that. I mean, you've been amazing. So thank you from all of us in Lira.
I've had to learn how to do technology that I was like, how do I do this? And it's been great. You guys have been wonderful. It's been a lot of fun doing this show with you.
Thank you. Anna, it took us 20 minutes just to get our earpieces today correct and get my Riverside up and going. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'm so proud of you, and thank you for making us look good. We appreciate it.
Well, it's going to be fun. We're going to have a lot more fun this year. Like I said, we're in the middle of a big old move right now, so we have you'll see a little transition in the show, but it's going to be a lot of fun to see what the new podcast studio is going to be looking like. So make sure to stay watching the show and watch the evolution of the podcast. So it's a lot of fun here. But I thank you all so much, and a happy new year to everybody. Exciting years to come. That's going to do it for us this year, and we can't wait to share more and exciting episodes in 2025. So for all of us at A Skin Depth Convo, I'm Anna Kagarakis. We'll talk soon, and cheers.
This podcast is brought to you by Lira Clinical and the award-winning Mystique Illuminating Beauty Oil. Mystique Beauty Oil's amazing skin-friendly hydration delivers potent antioxidants and anti-inflammatories with Lira Clinical's exclusive Mass Tech brightening technology. This luxury oil blend is infused with vitamin C for a clean, dry finish on the skin. Use by itself or add to your favorite hydrator. Beauty oil delivers your glow and go look. Contact your local Lira retailer for additional information at liraclinical.com.